2 Timothy chapters 2 and 1. Thou therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Yahushua Mashiach, and the things that thou hast heard of me among many witnesses, the same commit thou to faithful men who shall be able to teach others also. Wherefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. Giving our praises to Yahweh by Hashem, Yoshai by Hashem, Rakah, Kodash. Give double honors to all the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone. The house of David is rising. So we're going to check out this word, a couple of words in today's lesson, 2 Timothy chapters 2 and 3, as it says there. Therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. The words that stick out with me, we're going to come back to the blue letter. But there's a couple here that are intriguing words to look into. Well, let's check them out. The word soldier first. We know the word, we're familiar with it. What does Google say? A person who is in an army and wars or wears uniform, especially someone who fights. A person who serves in an army, a person engaged in military service. That's what it says about soldier. The word soldier derived from the Middle English word soldier, from Old French Saudi, if I'm not butchering those words, or Saudia, meaning mercenary, from Saudi, meaning trillion worth or wage, from, I'm going to butcher this one, so or Saud trillion. That's really what it is there. A person who serves in an army, a person engaged in military service. Now the etymology, straightforward. One who serves in the army for pay. One who serves in the army for pay. You have it there. France, Saudia. One who serves in the army for pay. So this is interesting. I found this interesting. I just checked up on. We looked at the word soldier. Now over here, you got the British Army. You got rankings. So I just tapped in, what is the highest soldier rank? Just out of curiosity, it says the highest military rank is O/10 or 5-star general. It is symbolized by 5 stars for each of the military services. Although it is currently a part of the military service rank system, no officer has been promoted to it since World War II, when the rank was created. So that's what it is. The 5-star general is the highest ranking soldier. A bit more here. It says, what is the order of rank in the military? There are 13 enlisted army ranks. Private, so that's 1 private, second 2, class private, 3 first class, 4 specialist, corporal, sergeant, staff, sergeant first class, master sergeant, first sergeant, sergeant major, command sergeant major, command sergeant major, and sergeant major of the army. So that's the 13 ranks. So they have their order in their army rankings. They have their rankings, which is just interesting to know. Is the chief higher than the captain? Than all these little bits of just. It says the assistant sheriff is under sheriff, is the next in line of police rank in the deputy. Followed by division chief, captain, sergeant, corporal, and deputy. A deputy sheriff is essentially the same rank as a police officer. So So a deputy is the same rank as a police officer. So they have their orders, man, and they also have their power struggles too. They have their power struggles. We've probably seen them, on the roadside on YouTube. They can harass even the police officers can even sometimes end up harassing just an ordinary army soldier. But if they find out he's a deputy, they realise they have to back off because he's got the same rank. A deputy sheriff is essentially the same rank as a police officer. So if they realise he's a deputy, they realise they have to back off. So it's all about rank, just like as we know. Esau has his ranking and rank and order. These are just interesting side points I found interesting. I looked into it. Navy SEAL soldier. Since we're on the subject of 2 Timothy 2 and 3, since we're on the subject talking about soldiers, some interesting information here. Navy SEAL soldier. Navy SEAL is full sea, air and land. That's what SEAL stands for. I just tapped in Navy SEAL soldier. Sea, air and land in the US Navy, a member of a special operation force trained to engage in direct raids or assaults on enemy targets, conduct resistance missions to report on enemy activity, especially prior to beach landings, and take part in action against terrorist groups. So they're special as far as when it comes to a special force as far as when it comes to sea, air and land. Right, that's their speciality. The Navy SEALs, if you didn't know. But I just found this information interesting. You can apply to become, I tapped in, went down and checked out some more. Can an army soldier be a Navy SEAL? You can apply to become a Navy SEAL as a civilian or Navy sailor, or even as a service member from another military branch. Both new recruits and active duty military candidates must pass a battery of physical, technical and psychological exams. See, this is all interesting information. I find this because we have our we have our exams, we have our tests, and who are the real soldiers? We just looked at it. We're gonna go back to it. We're gonna go back to who the real soldiers are. But this is just some interesting information that you may find curious to know. Navy SEAL Special Forces, the United States Navy SEAL air and land teams, commonly known as Navy SEALs, the US Navy Primary Special Operations Force, and a component of the Navy Special Warfare Command. Right, so they control the air, sea and land. Because I wanted to find out something here, right? There's a method to the madness. Navy SEAL soldier versus Green Beret. Which really are the top soldiers as far as Esau's military? Which are the top soldiers? And we're getting an idea here. The Green Berets are the special force units of the US. So when I tapped in Navy SEAL soldier versus Green Beret, this is what came up. Navy SEALs are a unit of Navy SEALs is derived from the capacity to operate at sea, in the air and on land, but it's their ability to work underwater that separates SEALs from most other military units in the world. So that's what separates them from other military, their ability to work underwater. And I was just checking some of their information that their test or exams it includes, when it comes to the Navy SEALs, it includes going underwater, being tested, being a reasonably good or a good swimmer, not like the average soldier or the Green Berets. You need to, in the Navy SEALs, you need to be a good swimmer, and there's a 6 months course. And when you're underwater, they subject you to all kinds of tests. Maybe they may take off your water gear or breathing apparatus just to see how you will survive without it, what you might do. And the objective in both these armies, or being in as a soldier, their objective when you go through these tests, these courses, is to get you to submit, trying to get you to quit, so that you cow out and no longer want to be a soldier. And they say if you do stay the course and you don't quit, then you are the person that they want in the army. You are the person that will most likely not quit in battle when it comes to being in the heat of battle. If you don't quit in the test, in the course, the 6 months course, they say you most likely won't quit when it comes to being in the heat of battle in war. So that's their objective. Their objective is to get you to quit. So I just checked out a couple of these. It says, which is harder to get onto, the Green Berets or Navy SEALs? And I looked into a little bit of that too. We're not going to watch any of the videos, but I tapped and we looked at the Navy SEAL versus Green Berets. And what does it say about the Green Beret soldier? Because we're getting to see something about E. We know that they're strictly about order, and they're a lot to do with military fighting and war. But they don't know the Most High, Yahweh Shemel Shai, is the king of wars. He's a king of terrors, and he's a man of war. Yeah. So let's read this. It says, the Army Special Forces soldier known as the Green Berets are military legends for service members and civilians alike. They take on terrorists through quiet guerrilla war style. I wanted to find out which is the top soldiers, the top Navy SEALs or Green Berets. I wanted to find out which are the most warlike or which are the most effective killers. Because that's what soldiers are being about. You're being trained to be a killer. So which is the most effective killer? He's saying here, missions, foreign countries, Green Berets teams operate in any environment, from city fighting to jungle warfare to desert scouting. So this is more, they concentrate more on being expert on guerrilla warfare, you might say stealth warfare, through quiet stealth guerrilla warfare missions, fighting, to jungle warfare, to desert scouting, desert, jungle, guerrilla warfare, stealth. So they really control the land, whereas the Navy SEALs control this, have more to do with underwater and such alike. So they're both interesting, right? If you was to compare them and say, which one would you want to be in? Because they have those kind of discussions in the military. They're the kind of discussions that they have. You understand? Because they're all about war, which they don't know that the Most High set them up anyway. And the Most High is the king of wars. He's the king of terrors. He's a man of war. So what does Green Beret do in the army? As a Green Beret, you are a guerrilla warfare expert, and use unconventional tactics to fight terrorists. Right? They use them. They're more unconventional, more unpredictable, more harder to read. So in effect, in other words, anything goes. So they're different to the Navy SEALs, man. These are the Green Berets. Yeah, tactics to fight terrorists. A bit more here. It says, are Green Berets the most elite? The answers: U.S. Army Special Forces, affectionately referred to as the Green Berets, are one of America's most elite and capable special operations unit. They have been at the forefront of the fight against terrorism, but their operation relevancy goes back for decades. So He says they're one of America's most elite, because they have those discussions. Which is the most elite, Green Berets or the Navy SEALs? Navy SEALs are known for. Some people argue that it was the Navy SEALs that took out Osama bin Laden. You know, when you heard about the assassination of Osama bin Laden, it was the Navy SEALs that they control the water. They're more experts when it comes to water. But it's a debate. It's an ongoing debate. Arguably, according to this, it says it's the Green Berets. The Green Berets are one of America's most elite and capable special operations unit. So if you've ever been in the army or you're interested in going in the army, this is a little bit of information here. Well, we know that we're in the army. We're in the Most High's army. So all that was interesting information. I found that side information. And we have an example of one of the Green Berets. You may have heard of the movie Rambo. He was a fighter in the movie. We know he's just an actor. We know he's just an actor, but he played an innocent civilian that wanted to quit being in the army, and he was harassed by the police, and he had to just dig in, which he just naturally kicked into his training as a Green Beret. He knew all the survival instincts, how to survive in the wilderness, and as a trained killer, he fell back into his killing instincts, which he ended up wiping out a whole police precinct, apart from the one person, which he spared him. If you see the movie, it's one of my favorite movies on as far as when it comes to action. It's quite old, back in the day, Rambo. But just to give you an idea about soldiers and what soldier mean. But we're gonna get that, and that's from as far as movies and as far as Esau's military. But you see, it's all yeah, they got their soldiers. They're about that life on a very, very low level. Navy SEALs, soldier, an army officer who wears in uniform, especially one who fights when there is a war. A person who serves in the army, a person engaged in military service. An army officer in uniform, especially someone who fights when there is a war. So I want to see let's get to the point here. We got soldiers, yeah, we have soldiers, but just to let you know, these type of soldiers here, 2 Timothy 2 and 3, wherefore thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua and Mashiach. So we're soldiers of Yahushua and Mashiach, which are spiritual soldiers at the moment, yeah. We're spiritual soldiers, and we've been called, and we may not look at ourselves as soldiers, but we're constantly reminded, yeah. And we want to go into the word. First and foremost, we want to check out the word. Endure hardness.
Strong's G 2553. Karkapathea. Karkapathea.
Endure hardness. G 255 right, because we have a test, we have a course that we are being, as it's saying here, to suffer, to endure evils, hardships, troubles, to be afflicted. And if you ever see some of them tests or the course that they have to undergo, Navy SEAL, whatever soldier, Navy SEAL or the others, or Green Berets, or any kind of special forces, they have their tests and courses. And when you see a lot of them, if you can see them on YouTube talking about, oh, if you ever have to go through that one, you've got to crawl on the floor through sand, and the sand is itchy. It's annoying, man. That's their course. That's their test that they have to go through, which is not compared to ours. If you want to put it like that, our tests, what we go through, which we're put through, are obstacle course. And some of us, you know, everyone's has a different course in as far as we're called. Lord willing, we're going to be chosen, but we're going up through a course, whether we're aware of it or not. Yeah, to be afflicted. Yeah, and these are the obstacle courses that we have to undergo, and everybody's course and affliction is different. We have to go through it because we're being trained up. That's the point. We're being trained up as spiritual soldiers for who? We're going to get to that. But we are being trained up through enduring, and we're being given this training for us to learn how to endure hardships, troubles, and that comes through being afflicted. That does come from Yahushua Mashiach, and just see it as training. That's how we see it. Training to be hard soldiers of Yahushua Mashiach. Endure hardness. As what? The word that stuck out with me here, other words, another one here is soldier. We looked at the word in the Google. Now blue letter.
Strong's G 4757. Stratiotes. Stratiotes.
4757 Strong's G's. Soldier. This one should be straightforward. A common soldier, yeah. Right? Otherwise, a champion of the cause of Yahushua Mashiach. So, yeah. Abba Ratazar, Yahweh Ratazar, we're going to be champions. If we stay the course, we endure the course, and don't forget to call upon Yahushua Mashiach, Holy Spirit, the Comforter, to give you the strength to endure the course, the afflictions and suffering those evil, which is the obstacle course, which is our test that we've been going through. Yeah, and Jeremiah spoke about being he was known from his belly, from the womb. Jeremiah chapters, I think it's 1 and 4. Yeah, and also King David spoke about how he was marvelously fashioned from the womb. He was known and trained up from young as soldiers, whether you've been aware of it or not. If you're of that number, if I'm of that number, I've been trained up, you've been trained up, we've been trained up in learning how to endure afflictions from birth. You understand? If you're those men, yeah, they're the elect, yeah, or hopeful elect, for humility's sake, we say that. We're being trained up now, the obstacle course. So they think they've got it hard going through their 6 months course. These soldiers, these carnal soldiers, American soldiers, British soldiers, US military, whatever they're under, whatever rank they're under, or whatever special force they come under, their little 6 months course, years or whatever, however long it takes. Ours is a lifetime, and we won't be called and chosen through Yahushua Mashiach, Yahuwah Shem Yeshua, to be called as Yahuwah Shem Yeshua soldiers. Yeah, Yahushua Mashiach soldiers. So that's what we go back to the precept. The point of this video is kind of made now. Yeah, we looked at the carnal soldiers, special forces. Now we're looking at the spiritual soldiers. 2 Timothy 2 and 3 says, Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua Mashiach. Yeah, no man who warreth entangle himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who have chosen him to be a soldier. So the point I've made, we've been chosen. The point I'm making is that we've been chosen to be soldiers, and Lord willing, we'll be chosen. We're being called right now, or chosen to be soldiers, which is we're being called to be soldiers, but we want to be chosen to be saved. Ultimately, we want that salvation. That's the end goal. That's what we look at. That's the we got Yahushua Mashiach as a prime example, which I did the video on. We have that confidence, which is to ask. 1 John chapters 5 and 14. Yeah, the confidence that we have, which is to ask for that. That means to ask. Don't forget to ask for Yahushua Mashiach. We have the confidence to approach him, to ask, and it says anything we ask for according to his will, he shall give us. So to be chosen, we want to be chosen, we want to be called, we want to pass the obstacle courses so that we can finish this and get salvation, the ultimate goal. And and meantime, glorifying Yahushua Mashiach's name. And 5 now, and if any man also strive for the masteries, yet he is not crowned except he strive lawfully. Right. So I want to make this point now. We jump down to 12. First and foremost, we jump down to 12. If we suffer, we shall also reign with him. If we deny him, he will deny us. So if we suffer but we endure, we shall reign with him. Yeah, that's the point. We suffer, we take the obstacle course, we take it on, take the bull by the horns, we endure hardness as a good soldier, and we suffer with him, Yahushua. He says there, we shall also reign with him. So it is faithful saying, if it be, the point I want here, this is the one in 10, it says, wherefore I endure all things for the elect's sakes. Yeah, so we endure all things for ourselves, but also for the elect's sakes, that they may also obtain salvation, which is in Yahushua Mashiach with eternal glory. So for our sakes we endure for salvation, and also for the elect's sakes. That is why we continue to endure. Yeah, when we do the videos, we make mention of Yahushua, his name, and the hope that he's given us, and magnify his name, Yahushua Mashiach, which is therefore I endure all things for the elect's sake, that they may also obtain salvation. That's the end goal. And we're being called and being trained up, being forged. That's the word I wanted. We're being forged now to be spiritual soldiers, so that we can achieve salvation, the end goal. Got another precept to further add the point. This one is in Isaiah 41:14 says, fear not, thou worm Jacob. Right, because right now we've been called to be soldiers, but we're still in the flesh, so we're still effectively we're just worms to Yahushua. But he says, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, and thy Redeemer, the Holy One of Israel. Yeah, I'll read that again. Fear not, thou worm Jacob, and ye men of Israel, I will help thee, saith the Lord, the Redeemer of the Holy One of Israel. So you may be a worm, but fear not. Most High is forging us, helping us to become effective, efficient soldiers in Yahushua Mashiach. Abba Ratazah, we endure and we stay the course. Behold, I will make thee a new sharp threshing instrument, having teeth. Teeth represents power. So you're going to give us teeth. From a worm to what? A new threshing instrument, having teeth. Thou shalt thresh the mountains and beat them small. Thou shalt make the hills as chaff. Let that one marinate for a little while. Let that one settle. From worms to new threshing instruments having teeth. From worms to having teeth and having power. Giving our praises to Yahweh Shemel Shah. So one more to end of the video. We are being forged into instruments at the moment, spiritual instruments, threshing instruments having teeth. We're being forged into soldiers. Yeah? You know, don't worry about this Rambo business. Rambo, Sylvester Stallone, whatever his name was. Sylvester Stallone, yeah, don't worry about that Rambo business. He was just an actor. Alright, he was a good actor, but he's just a movie, a man in acting out a movie. Which the movie has some gems in there, some spiritual gems. Underdog, he actually wiped out a whole precinct. He fell back on his soldiers' training, and he wiped out a whole precinct, and he was underestimated. But he was just a carnal man, he was just acting out a movie. We're little carnal men, yeah, but not for long. And we're looked down upon and we're underestimated. But the point I want is in Zechariah 12:4, we can go to 8. Little carnal men, worms, but we're being fooled right now. Zechariah chapters 12 and 8 says, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, as the angel of the Lord before them. Right, from worms. Don't worry. You endure this course, stay the course, endure this suffering, affliction, endure this evil, and endure as a good soldier. The end result will be, in that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble, and you may be feeble among them at that day, shall be as David. But you're going to be like David, the man that is feeble among us. At that day shall be as the house of David shall be as gods, and David shall be as gods, and the angel of the Lord before them. Let me take my time with that one. Let that one marinate. I got to read that one again. In that day shall the Lord defend the inhabitants of Jerusalem, and he that is feeble among them at that day shall be as David, and the house of David shall be as God, and the angel of the Lord before them. Right, enough said. Point blank period. Point is made. Giving our praises to Yahweh Hashem Yeshua for giving me the spirit to do this video. And yes, definitely the house of David is rising. We're going to end off with what you started with, 2 Timothy chapters 2, 3. Lord willing, this gave us a little bit more, was edified. We was a little bit more edified. To do what? Thou therefore endure hardness as a good soldier of Yahushua and Mashiach. Praise to Yahweh Hashem Yeshua once again. To Wada to Yahweh Hashem Yeshua for giving me the spirit to do this video. And yes, the house of David is rising, and it's on to the next one.